Hello, Biology 205 students, and welcome to Introduction to Microbiology at Columbia College. This video is intended just to be a very brief introduction to the way the course works. I won't be telling you about any of the course materials in this lecture. I'll just be telling you what you're expected to do each week. So let's have a very brief introduction to the mechanics of how this course works. So my name is Greg Doheny. That's me there. Some of you may have had courses from me before, and if so, welcome back. I hope you'll find this course both interesting and useful in your future life. I mean, everyone should know some microbiology and some of the things about infectious diseases and some of the things about bacteria, viruses, and fungi, and so on. And that's really what this course is about. For this course, it is delivered over the internet due to the COVID-19 pandemic. You will actually learn about COVID-19 in this course, and you will actually learn about pandemics. So that's kind of useful. But because of the COVID-19 pandemic, we can no longer teach this course in person, but I can still have an office hour with you. So my office hours, this by the way is my email address, gdoheny@columbiacollege.ca. And I will be holding an office hour on Tuesdays, every Tuesday from 12 o'clock to 1 o'clock. And we will be connecting via the Microsoft Teams program, which allows you to have a video conference. Now, you're not required to attend the office hour. It's only up to you if you want to come to the office hour or not, if you have questions for me. You also have the option of sending me a personal email to my email address if you have a question, or better yet, you'll notice that every lecture has a questions forum where you can ask questions. You basically put questions on an internet bulletin board, and then I will answer those questions. And that's actually my preferred way of answering questions, because if you write out the question, a number of other students may have the same question, and so those other students who may have the same question have the ability to see my answer as well. So if I write out an answer for you, then all of the other students who have the same question can also see the same answer. So that's kind of handy. Very, very convenient. But anyway, if you want to come to the office hour, we can also talk in person over the internet. Now, if you do come to the office hour, you're not required to come to the office hour, but if you do come to the office hour, you are not required to turn on your camera. You can just leave your camera turned off if you feel self-conscious. I'll have my camera turned on unless I'm having internet problems. Sometimes my server gets overloaded, and so I turn the camera off just to prevent the program from freezing. And so if I frequently do have internet problems, and so if I turn my camera off, that's probably the reason why I did it. Now, the course is delivered over the internet, and that means that we actually don't have anything to do on Tuesday. All of the lectures, as you'll see in a minute, all of the lectures have been recorded ahead of time, and they are available on the course Moodle site. And you can watch the lectures anytime you want, and you can watch them as many times as you want, which is actually one of the advantages of doing this course by remote online access as opposed to in person. If we were doing this course in person like we used to do, I would simply lecture to you on Tuesdays and Fridays, and then it would be gone. You wouldn't have the ability to listen to it again. But with the remote lectures, you can watch the videos anytime you want, day or night, and you can watch them as many times as you want. But anyway, there is a possibility, a very remote possibility, that the coronavirus pandemic could be over before the end of the semester. Somebody could invent a vaccine that will give us all protection from coronavirus. That's extremely unlikely to happen during this semester, but if it does happen, we have the ability to go back and do the course live in the college, in which case we would be meeting on Tuesdays and Fridays from 12 o'clock until 2 o'clock in the college, which is why I've actually bothered to write out the meeting times here. Right, but since we're delivering this course online, you don't actually have to do anything on Tuesdays from 12 to 2, unless you feel like coming to the office hours. So the office hours are from 12 o'clock to 1 o'clock. However, the Friday time period, you do have to be logged in, and you have to be on your computer on Fridays from 12 to 2, because that's when we're going to be doing our testing. And all students have to write the tests at the same time, We will have a test and a research assignment that has to be carried out over the internet every Friday from 12 o'clock until 2 o'clock, and so therefore you have to be logged into the computer to do the test and the research assignment. So remember to keep your Friday time period from 12 o'clock until 2 o'clock free, because you must be logged onto the computer. All right, now what about the textbook for this course? There is a textbook. It's called Microbiology by a professor named Nina Parker at Rice University. The textbook is actually free, and it can be either viewed online at this address, or it can be downloaded as a PDF file to your computer. I would advise you to download it as a PDF file, because at the end of the semester, now every lecture that I give in this course will be taken from a chapter in this textbook. If you want to, you can read the textbook as well, but I think you should probably be able to get enough information out of the lecture alone. But if you're still confused, or if you want more detail, or if you learn things better by reading than by listening, and lots of people have that issue, lots of people learn better by hearing and seeing than they do by reading, as opposed to other people who learn things better by reading. That's totally up to you. But it's not required that you read this textbook. However, at the end of the semester, we are going to have some open book testing based on this textbook, which is where I assign you a chapter to read, and you must read the chapter and answer questions about it in real time. So the test will open up on a Friday, and it will tell you to go to chapter 6 and read chapter 6 and then answer the following questions from chapter 6. And so in that case, you have to have the textbook ready to read on your computer, otherwise you can't do the test. So you do have to have a copy of the textbook, but on the other hand, it's free, so it's all you have to do is make the time to download it. And so you can download it at the address that I've given you here. All right, let's take a look at what the course looks like and what you'll be expected to do every week. Okay, so office hours, we have those on Tuesdays. You are not required to attend. If you do attend, you are not required to turn on your camera. But the office hours will be delivered via the Microsoft Teams program, right? So you just look at your computer and we can talk. On the Moodle website for the course, you'll see that there's a document that you can link to that tells you how to download Microsoft Teams if you don't already have that program. What I'll be doing is I will be setting up on your on your Microsoft Teams calendar. I will be setting up a regular office hour every Tuesday, rather, from 12 to 1. And it will appear on your calendar every week. If you want to join the office hour, you just click the little window that says join, and then you're taken immediately to the office hour. If you don't want to attend, you can just ignore that on your calendar. Okay, so you will need to download either the Microsoft Teams program or the Microsoft Teams app in order to make use of the office hours. The textbook, you download it from the OpenStax organization website. OpenStax, by the way, is it's a freeware free textbook organization that basically Columbia College realizes that textbooks are expensive and students have limited financial resources a lot of the time, and so we're moving towards free textbooks that people have written free of charge. There are not textbooks for every course that are available free of charge, but there are textbooks that are available for some courses, and Biology 205 happens to be one of those courses. So if you go to the OpenStax organization, they have a number of other textbooks that you can read if you want. Some of you that are taking chemistry at Columbia College know, for instance, that there's a free chemistry textbook. There's a free biology textbook for first year biology, and there is a free biology textbook specializing in microbiology. So just go there and download that book. So if you go to the address I've listed here, you'll see an internet window that looks something like this, and notice that you have the ability of viewing the textbook online, but you also have the ability to download the textbook as a PDF, which I would recommend that you do, because then you can read it at your leisure, and you don't actually have to be connected to the internet to read it. All right, so what is required of you each week? Well, if you go to the Moodle website, and you must already be at the Moodle website or you wouldn't be viewing this video, you simply scroll downwards and there's a list of things that you're expected to do each week. So each week what you are expected to do is, number one, you watch a lecture video, depending on there are actually 13 study units for this course. And each study unit has one or more lecture videos that you need to watch. You'll notice, for instance, that in the first week in Unit 1, which is the introductory week, there are actually 3 videos. It's really just one video, but I just made it into smaller pieces so that it might be easier for you to watch. Some of the lecture videos are quite long, but you don't have to watch it all at once. You can stop it and go back to it the next day if you want. So I believe the longest lecture video is probably about 3 hours. But that's probably the longest of them all. Okay, once you've watched the lecture video, you have the option of reviewing the slides. Each one of the lecture videos is made from a PowerPoint slideshow that I have. And if you want to see the slides again without having to listen to all the narration, just look at the slides. They're also there in PDF format. If you want to, it's your choice to read the chapter in the book that the lecture was derived from. I also, for certain weeks, for certain units, I will include a set of lecture notes, supplementary lecture notes, and a problem set. These problems are very similar to the ones that you'll get on the quizzes and the exams, the midterm and the final exam. But there isn't a problem set available every week, just every other week or something like that. There are only a few of them. Now, here we come to the most important part of the course. These are the things that will take up most of your time every week. Right. On Friday from 12 to 12:20 for 20 minutes, you will write a quiz every week. And then that quiz is multiple choice. It's actually 40 questions that you have to answer in 20 minutes. I apologize that the time frame is so limited. It seems like you'll be rushed. You will feel rushed when you answer the questions. And there are 2 reasons for that. One of them is we never actually learn anything unless we're under a little bit of stress. And so if we're not under any stress at all, we don't learn something. If we're under too much stress, then we don't learn things either. But a little bit of stress is actually helpful to the learning process. And that, in fact, is why everywhere in the world, whenever you go to a university or a college, they give you tests that give you grades. So you have a stake in how well you do in the test because your letter grades will depend on it. So that is intended to give you a little bit of incentive, to give you a little bit of stress to study for the tests and then do your best in the tests. And that little bit of stress actually helps you to memorize things, and that's the idea. So the quizzes and the research assignments that you'll do every week as well as the midterm exam and the final exam are a bit stressful. They're not stress-free. They're not meant to be stress-free. They're meant to be a little bit stressful intentionally because this helps us to learn things. Each week you'll have a quiz. You'll have to complete 40 multiple choice questions in 20 minutes, which does not give you very much time to think about it. But because in addition to that, we're delivering this course online, and these quizzes are supposed to be done entirely from memory. The midterm and the final exam is meant to be done from memory as well. You're not allowed to look in your notes. You're not allowed to look things up on the internet. You're not allowed to ask any other student what the answer might be to a question. That's obvious. That's cheating. We all know that. But because the test is being delivered over the internet, I have no way to tell that you're not looking up the answers in a book or talking to a friend about it. And so the idea behind keeping the timeline short, the idea behind giving you a very limited amount of time to write the quiz, is that you have to answer the quiz from memory. You either know the answer or you don't. It does not give you enough time to look up the answer. That is actually the idea. The same thing is true for the midterm exam and the final exam. The time frame that you're given to complete the test, you will find it difficult to get through the test and answer all the questions in the time frame that you're given. And that's deliberate. And I understand that that's a bit stressful. I understand that it doesn't give you an unlimited amount of time, but it's meant to be, the answer is meant to be conjured from your memory. You either know the answer or you don't. Being able to answer all the questions in the time period that you're given is actually part of the test. It's intentional. So it is, number one, it's meant to give you a limited amount of time so that you don't have time to look up the answer. And it's also meant to give you, it's also meant to test your memory, and how, not only is it meant to test what you know, but how well you know it. And so if you don't know the answer very well, it may take you several minutes to try and search your memory for it, but we don't want you to learn it that way. We want you to have it learned well enough that you can instantly remember it, almost instantly. So basically, as a general rule, for the tests that you will get in this course, you will have about 30 seconds to answer each question. For the midterm and the final, we won't be doing just exclusively multiple choice questions. There will be a few essay questions where you have to write a short essay, 200 words or less. Generally, I give you about 5 minutes to write that type of an answer. There are some other types of questions where you're asked to give a short answer. I generally give you 1 minute or 2 minutes to answer a question like that. And if you know the answer very well, that's more time than you'll actually need. Right? So if you know the answer to a short answer question, if you know it, you don't need 2 minutes to answer the question. You can answer it in about 30 seconds. If you know the answer to a multiple choice question well, it won't take you 30 seconds to find the answer. You can answer it probably in 10 seconds and then move on. Now, one thing that you may notice about the quizzes when you write them is that, again, this is to avoid cheating, but the 40 questions are organized into blocks of 5 questions that you have to answer the 5 questions and then move on to the next page. So you have 5 questions per page. You have to answer them all before you can go to the next page. Once you've moved to the next page, you cannot go back and change your answer. Right? And again, that's to avoid cheating, because the questions for every student has different questions, but some of them are similar. And so if you're working on this with your friend, and you're not supposed to be, obviously, that's cheating. But if you had 2 students that were trying to work on the test together, one of them might know the answer to a question and the other one might not know, but they've already moved on from that question, so they can't go back and change the answer. So the having to answer 5 questions at a time and then move on and not being able to go back and change your answer is, again, a device that is meant to prevent cheating. Okay, so that's for the quizzes. For the research assignment, every week we will have a research assignment that opens up at 12:30 and closes at 2 p.m. You'll have to do the research assignment. Now, in this case, what you do is I send you to a website like the World Health Organization website, for instance, where you can find information about a specific bacterium. You go to that website and then you open up another window with the test in it, and you answer all the questions for the test by reading the website that I sent you to. So it's as much a reading and studying test as anything else. Now, one key thing about the research assignment is that once you've completed the research assignment, I will never ask you about those questions again. So it's only meant to be for that week. You do the research assignment. When you answer the questions, the questions will actually be determining how well and how closely you're reading the information on that website. And then once you've answered the questions and completed the test, you're done with it. You don't have to memorize. You don't have to go back and look to see whether you answered correctly or not, because I'll never ask you about that again. However, you are given the option of going back to see whether you answered correctly or not. But just be aware that I will never ask you. I would never ask you to memorize any of the answers from the research assignment, because we're never going to deal with that again once you're finished with it. All right, so if you go to the Moodle page and you're already there, that's why you're watching this, you'll see that every week there is a list of things to do. So, for example, in week 2, there's a list that says the microbial pathology and epidemiology. There's an introduction that tells you what we're talking about that week. It then tells you to go and watch lecture number 3, part 1, lecture number 3, part 2, and so on. Then, if you want to, you review the slides. And of course, as you know, if you click on the highlighted text, it takes you to the materials. So all of the materials that you'll need for this course are available on this Moodle web page. If I didn't mention it before, you know that the college has 2 programs that we use to handle student activities over the internet. One of them is called CAMS, C-A-M-S. And CAMS is the computer program that when you log into the college, you have actually logged into the CAMS program. And then you have to log in separately to the website that's Moodle. Moodle is a course management education program, and we have Columbia College has a separate website for that. So if you log into the Moodle website, then you will see all of your courses which are being delivered in Moodle, including Biology 205. If you go to the Moodle page for this course and scroll downwards, all of the blue text, all of this blue text that you see here is a hot link to link you to the quiz, or to link you to the slides, or to link you to the movie, to the lecture, which is available on YouTube. Right, so to get all of the materials, you simply click around and then it takes you to these materials. Okay, so notice that in week 2, for instance, there are 2 lectures to watch. So you click on those 2 links and then you watch the lectures. If you want to, you click on the link for the lecture 3 slides and you can see them in PDF format. There is a set of notes that you can read in week 2. You click on that, you can see the notes, or you can download them as well. And then there's a set of practice questions that you can take for that week. They're written, they're not hot linked. And then when you think you're ready, on Friday, at 12 o'clock, you click on the microbiology quiz number 1 or number 2, for instance, and it will take you to the multiple choice quiz, which you have to begin at 12 o'clock. And the quiz will be open from 12 o'clock to 12:20. If you haven't finished by 12:20, the computer will automatically log you out of the quiz, and it will just tally the answers that you've already written. Don't worry if you don't finish. You won't get credit for the questions that you won't get credit for the questions that you didn't have time to finish, but the questions that you did finish will be counted. Right? So the computer automatically counts all of the questions that you've done before the time limit expires. Right? So no need to worry about that. Sometimes students are worried about that. All right, so from 12 o'clock until 12:20, you click on that link, it takes you to the quiz. The quiz will close at 12:20. Then you have 10 minutes to catch your breath. And then at 12:30, you click on this link, which is the open book test, the open book test assignment for that week. For this particular week, you have to open up a separate window and go to the Public Health Agency of Canada website, and then open up another window for the quiz and then for the research assignment, and then answer the questions that you derive from reading that website. Okay, so let's start from the beginning here. The first thing to do that week is to watch the lecture. So if you click on that link, it will take you to a video. Now this video is on the Moodle site, but you notice that down here the videos are actually being stored on YouTube. Right, now if you click on that, if you click on YouTube, that will actually take you from the Moodle site to the YouTube website, and you have more features available to you if you watch the movie, if you watch the lecture at the YouTube site. All right, so if you go to the YouTube site, you have all of these features available as well. So here's the video playing up here, right? And then there's the title of the video. And down here, if you've never used YouTube before, there's these dots. If you click on these dots, you'll get some more options. And one of the options says Activate Transcript. If you click on Activate Transcript, what I'm saying in the lecture is written out for you in the text, in text. So that's a very handy feature. That's an advantage of doing this course online, which is that if you can't understand what I'm saying, you can simply read the transcript while I'm speaking, or you can read the transcript by itself. Right, so that's a nice feature of having the lectures stored on YouTube as opposed to just lecturing in the classroom. So if I'm speaking and you can't understand my words, you have the option of activating the transcript and reading the transcript for that particular lecture. All right, now you have the option of viewing the slides in PDF form, and then if you go to the microbiology quiz for that week, it will take you to the quiz site on the Moodle page. Right, so here's quiz number 1, for instance. Notice that it's telling you that the quiz will not be available until Friday, September 11th from 12 p.m. and that the quiz will close on Friday, September 11th at 12:20 p.m. And then what you do is you go there on Friday, September 11th, and you click this little window here that says Begin the Quiz. Once you get into the quiz, you'll see a bunch of questions like this. They're grouped on 5 questions per page. And so here's a picture, for instance, and it says up here at the top is the question. It says, what type of microscope image is this? It's basically asking you what type of microscope took the picture. And then you select an answer. I've selected down here that it's a confocal laser scanning image. And then you do all these questions, and then the quiz closes, and then you go and you do the research assignment next. And after that whole thing is over, after 2 p.m. on Friday, you have the ability to go back after the quiz has closed and look to see if you answered correctly. And so if I go and do that, I see that that answer was not correct. When I click the radial button for a confocal laser scanning electron microscope, that's incorrect. The correct answer is SEM, which stands for scanning electron microscope. Right. By the way, these bacteria are a bacterium called Vibrio cholera, and they are morphologically they're described as a monotricious Vibrio, which you'll learn all about when you take this course. And this image is, if you have experience looking at different types of microscope images, you'll notice that this type of image that appears to be, it's in black and white, and it appears to be three-dimensional, and it looks kind of like you have some bacteria here that somebody sprayed with silver spray paint. That is a classic example of a scanning electron microscope image. Okay, so you have the option after the quiz and the research assignment are over, you have the option of going back to look at the answers, at the correct answers. Okay, so you've done the quiz. So you wrote the quiz for 20 minutes. Now it's 12:30. You click on the microbiology assignment, and it gives you a research assignment. So it tells you that you have to go to the World Health Organization page. There's a link to it there. So you open that up in a separate window, and then you click on Begin Test, and you can read the website that I sent you to and answer around 20 questions related to the information on that website. So for instance, the web page that you would be taken to here is the World Health Organization website, specifically the World Health Organization website related to Ebola virus disease. Ebola virus, of course, is a virus, a very deadly virus that we'll learn about in the course. And then while you're reading this information on the World Health Organization website, you have another window that has the questions in it. So this would be a typical question from the research assignment. It says there are 6 species of Ebola virus. Which of the following is not one of them? And I've clicked on Mombasa. The other ones are Thai Forest, Sudan, Bombali, Zaire, but Mombasa is not one of these species of the Ebola virus. That's written, you can derive this information from reading the World Health Organization facts page on Ebola virus. And the purpose of these types of assignments is simply to give you experience reading and deriving information from various resources on the internet. So the World Health Organization, which is run by the United Nations, is an extremely valuable resource for learning about infectious diseases, which is one of the main things we're going to do for this course. And as I said, you will never be asked about those questions that you read on the website again. So once you're finished with the research assignment, you're done with it. You generally have 1.5 hours to complete that assignment. It is it's a bit stressful to get through all the information in just 1.5 hours, but again, I said it's meant to be a little bit stressful. All right, so each week you watch a video, you review the slides, you can read the chapter in the book if you want to, you can attend the office hour if you want to, you can read the notes and the problem set. There will not be a note set every week. And then what you must do on Friday is you must take the weekly quiz from 12 o'clock to 12:20, and then when you're completed with that, you must do the research assignment from 12:30 until 2, and then after that's done, you can go back and you can review your answers to see if you got them right or not. This is how the marking from the course works. There are 10 of these quizzes worth 2% each for a total of 20% of your mark. There are 10 research assignments worth 2% each for a total of 20% of your mark, so 40% there. We have a midterm. The date is listed on the Moodle page as well as the document that you can read. And the midterm is worth 20% of your grade. The difference between the quizzes and the research assignments is that the quizzes and the research assignments are mostly multiple choice, whereas the midterm exam and the final exams will have a few essays and short answer questions. And then we have a final exam that is worth 100%, or sorry, 40%, for a total of 100%. All right, so when one of the common questions that students ask is, when am I required to be online? As I mentioned, you're not required to attend the office hours, but there is an office hour from 12 to 1 on Monday via Microsoft Teams. But you don't actually have to attend that. But the only time during the week that you have to be online and logged into the course Moodle page is during the testing, which is on Fridays from 12 to 2. So on Fridays from 12 to 2, you must always be on the computer. Okay, so and then remember, it should go without saying, but you are absolutely forbidden from looking up answers to the quizzes in your notes or asking another person about them or looking them up on the internet. They must be done completely from memory. All right, so that's basically how the course works. Good luck in the course and have fun. I have that in brackets because I remember very well as a student that studying was never fun. But once I learned the material, it was very fun to have that knowledge. So generally I look back on the courses that I took 30 or 40 years ago and with fondness and think, well, it was hard to learn those things, but once I learned them, it was a lot of fun knowing all those things, and it was a lot of fun learning how to learn new things. And so I don't know how much fun you'll have during the course, but I know that you will have fun having learned these things in the future. I know that for a fact. So good luck with this course and have fun, and I will see you at the first week's lecture, which you can move on to right now if you wish. Good luck.